organization of this project to make sure that we all have the same thing in mind. This one I'm pretty sure you can remember, enfin not this one, but maybe this one. So you know more or less where you are, what you will have to do and with whom you can most probably interact and discuss. That's the objective of this meeting. The final objective of the project are, let's say, high. We really want to reach high-level results and deliverables. And my last word would be to say that we are expected to deliver for Uganda what is called an AKIS product. Alors, AKIS stands for Agriculture Knowledge Information System. So an AKIS product dedicated to coffee agroforestry in Uganda, which I should always say Robusta Coffee Agroforestry, because that's typically the name of the project. So this AKIS package to be used by those who need information about coffee, and the same package put maybe in another format to be given to officials from the government of Uganda so that they can use agroforestry in the coffee production sector as an important, let's say, means, one of the means for them to address the climate change challenge. And that could be what we hope is that this package could be included in their national contribution to the COP series of conference. Again, permanently addressing the climate change issue. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, yes, if it's open for discussion, precision, clarification, you're welcome. And if there is no question, I will be extremely happy because it means that you all know what is in Robust now.
For that knowledge management system that will be established, the exit strategy. No. Let me explain. You know, when you are running a project, you always need to know that you will when it is information that we will be able to assemble within the project. I believe it's what we are trying to establish, the knowledge management. But now, the actors that gather that information may not still be there because the funding has elapsed. That's why I'm asking, towards the end of the project, what do we plan
farmers network and the research network. Before we go into that, I wanted to briefly highlight what Uganda Coffee Farmers Alliance does. So in summary, we are an apex organization of coffee farmers, and Uganda Coffee Farmers Alliance is essentially an association of cooperatives. So we have 112 cooperatives, and we are a services agency for those cooperatives. So among the services portfolio, there's input supplies. So we start from the planting material. The farmers need the correct planting material. They need other inputs like fertilizers. Then we also have a farmer extension system within the cooperatives. So the cooperatives do a farmer field school methodology to transfer knowledge at that level. And then of course, we're a business. The farmers are business units. So when this coffee is grown, it is harvested, it is processed, and as UCFA we have invested in setting up export grading plants. So far we have 2 export grading factories, and we intend to build 2 more in the different coffee growing regions. And once this coffee is graded or processed, we export it, as you can see, and then we have a different model when it comes to roasting. Rather than roasting here where the consumption is low, we have joint ventures with roasters abroad where this coffee is roasted and then the value is transferred back to the producers. This is our structure. As you can see, we are active in different regions of this country, and because ours is a cooperative system, in the regions we have cooperative unions, and then below each union there are cooperative societies. So in the east we are working with 2 cooperative unions, in central we have 3, in the west we have 2, and in the north we are trying to set up 1, although the challenge we have there is the number of coffee farmers. There are not so many to form an economic base for us to invest in processing. And then our organization structure or management structure is there. So we have different departments, but most importantly, we have the field technicians or field officers whom we have now baptized agroforesters because of the need to increase the extension focus on agroforestry. Then here is a map which has clusters that were developed by CIRAD. They will explain how those clusters were developed, but in summary, we have superimposed our farmers network on this map. So if you see the thick black lines, those are areas where we have actively the farmers network. So the good thing is that the farmers network is in all the clusters of interest. So I'm going to request Natasha to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So I'm Natasha Motizi. I forgot to tell you that I'm an epidemiologist. So I'm in charge of the part of pest and disease of the project. And so we defined some clusters, some pedoclimatic clusters in the Robusta growing areas in Uganda. These areas are defined by a combination. It's a statistical method that combines a combination of these variables, all these variables, so variables from climate during the past 30 years, and some variables of soil. And the combination of these variables define some different pedoclimatic areas. And why we wanted to have that? It's because actually we want to, attends, sorry. Bon. Okay. It's because we have this question. We want to know the effect of the landscape on pest and disease. And actually, it's because within the agroecological strategies, we have to manage pest and disease. Finding landscapes that are very low conductive to pest and disease is a good strategy. And it actually is a challenge. It's a challenge because it's very difficult to separate the effect of climate and landscape. So in this project, we have this aim to separate these effects to really understand the effect of landscape on pest and disease. Actually, we know that landscape can have effects on the dispersion of pest and disease. So if we have a plot, if we consider a plot, a Robusta plot, for example, the pest and disease that are in these plots can go to other plots either easily if there is no barrier, or they can have barriers like trees, or it's the biodiversity that can make barriers for the dispersion. So actually we would like to measure this kind of variables, which are the spatiotemporal collectivity of the landscape around the plots. And we also know that the biodiversity inside the plot, so in the plot is playing on the pest and disease propagation, so reproduction and dispersion. And we want to characterize as well the horizontal structure of the biodiversity in the plot, and the vertical structure of this diversity. And we want to characterize this diversity inside the plot with three kind of modalities, like from full sun coffee plots to medium shade coffee plots, basically banana plots, because in Uganda there is a lot of banana cropping, and a more complex structure with which is closer to the forest structure. And so we will define in each cluster, we want to choose some plots that has this characteristic. So full sun, medium shade, and very complex shading. Inside each cluster, and for each plot, for example, plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, we will define the surrounding landscape. We will characterize the surrounding landscape, and which we call the plotscape, actually. And so the landscape, we will define it either manually and then with remote sensing methodology, which is the ECP stuff, ECP work. So, yeah. So for the moment, it's some details of what we are going to do. Now we can discuss about it, because I just make a simple presentation on that. But Fabrice told me that the breakfast has just arrived, so maybe you can think about your question during the breakfast, and then we come back and discuss about it with you. Are you okay? Yeah? With that?
So the good question is, where is the breakfast? Please enjoy, have your coffee, and as Natasha said, we can start to discuss while drinking coffee, and then we start again after 10, 15 minutes.
Recording stopped.